What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. Yeah. What's good? This is your boy, Tone DeShields the second. You guys are locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. Y'all know the vibes. Y'all know the energy. Make sure you guys are locked in. Smash that like button. Make sure you guys are also subscribed to the channel. You feel what I'm saying? Also, YouTube has introduced this new feature called the hype button. You're able to hype up your favorite live streams, your favorite content creators, your favorite broadcasters. Hopefully, I'm in that category for you. You have the ability to essentially hype up the content, and that will push the content further throughout the landscape and the algorithm and just the vast pool of options that you have. It's going to elevate Chalk It Up Sports to new heights. So make sure you guys utilize that button, utilize that feature, utilize your power as a consumer, right? The people are king. You live by the people, you die by the people. It's just that simple in this game. So make sure you guys stay active. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, hit the like button, and definitely hit that hype button. And I got to tell you guys, I am feeling really good today. There's nothing like a victory Monday. There's nothing quite like an Eagles victory. Because when the Eagles win, the city wins, right? When the Eagles win, the city wins. And let's be frank about this. When you look around the sports landscape of Philadelphia, who's been more consistent than the Philadelphia Eagles? Who's actually lived up to expectation more consistently than the Philadelphia Eagles? As many wins as the Phillies have gotten over the past handful of years, they have yet to close the deal. As much money as they've spent on guys like Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Ranger Suarez, Aaron Nola, right? All those guys. Trey Turner. You feel what I'm saying? All the money they spent on players like that, couldn't do nothing with it. The Sixers, as much money as they spent on Joel Embiid, Paul George, Ben Simmons at one point, Tyrese Maxey, the coaching carousel that existed in Philadelphia. You went from Brett Brown to Doc Rivers to now Nick Nurse, Elton Brand as your GM. You had who was the other guy? Colangelo, whatever his name was, Hinkie, right? Now you got Daryl Morey. Nothing but letdowns. A lot of money spent. Nothing to bring home to the city. The Flyers have been in the perpetual rebuild for God knows how long, right? You know, the Final Four, the 4 for 4 teams in Philadelphia, the most consistent thing we have is the Eagles. So that's why I always get a little peeved when I hear people speak illy of the Eagles and how much vigor and passion they speak with when they speak about the Eagles. I get a little peeved by it because they provided you with the most stability from an organizational perspective than any franchise in this city over the past several years. Let's call it what it is. In the past, where are we in 2025 now? The Eagles won their first Super Bowl in 2018, the 2017-2018 season, of course. But the Eagles won the Super Bowl in February of 2018. They won another Super Bowl in February of 2025. They've been to another Super Bowl in February of 2023. So, in the span of 7 years, the Eagles have been to 3 Super Bowls, and they've won 2. Let's really do the math on that, y'all. Let's really keep it real here. You know, I'm riding high on Victory Monday, but it also allowed me an opportunity to put things in perspective because there's been people on all these different platforms speaking ill about the franchise quarterback, Jalen Hurts, as if he's chopped liver, as if he's just happy to be here, as if he doesn't contribute to this team's success, as if this team doesn't ride off of the lifeblood of his aura. 3 Super Bowl appearances. Hold on, let's do it like this. 3 NFC championship wins in the past 7 years. That means 3 Super Bowl appearances in the past 7 years. And you have 2 Super Bowl victories in the past 7 years. Not many franchises can say that. But if we're just going to keep it over the past 3 seasons, which I don't mind doing, if we want to just keep it on the past 3 seasons, the 2023 season, the 2024 season, and the 2025 season, the 2022 season, 2023 season, and 2024 season, let's keep it on the past 3 years. This season is still in flux. This current season is still in flux. But the 2022, 2023, and 2024 season, the Eagles made the playoffs all 3 years. 2 of those 3 years, they made it to the Super Bowl. In one of those 3 years, they actually won it with the guy they decided to pay. You see, this conversation is so important coming off of this dominant win. And the reason I say dominant is because I feel like Jalen Hurts was dominant himself, especially in the second half. A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, they were dominant throughout that game. You know, there were deficiencies here and there. Let's not get it twisted. But Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith were dominant. They were the offense. And for the Eagles to be able to sustain success and consistently win football games at a high clip and produce 2 Super Bowl appearances and 1 Super Bowl victory, and you got there because your franchise quarterback played spectacularly and efficiently, Why does he get the short end of the stick? Why is he discussed the way that he is? Help me understand. Jalen Hurts put forth one of the best performances we've seen him play, or one of the best performances we've seen him have in his career in the regular season. Right? I like to make a delineation, or I like to draw the line between the regular season and the playoffs, right? Jalen Hurts has delivered some pretty remarkable playoff performances in his career. He's also delivered some pretty remarkable regular season performances. But this Vikings win, that Vikings performance may take the cake. It may take the cake. A perfect passer rating, the first perfect passer rating on the season by any NFL quarterback this season. I want to really put this in perspective here. Jalen Hurts against the Minnesota Vikings. This brother threw for 326 passing yards, gross. If you adjust it, he threw for 316. He went 19 for 23, which is essentially completing 82% of your passes. 82.6% of your passes, to be specific. He averaged over 14 yards an attempt. 3 passing touchdowns. All 3 passing touchdowns came at a minimum of 26 yards. He threw a 26-yard touchdown to A.J. Brown, threw a 34-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Brown, threw a 79-yard touchdown pass to DeVonta Smith. No turnovers, a perfect passer rating, a QBR of 94.2. And I don't even really pay attention to QBR. I always feel like QBR is misleading, or it's an ESPN stat that they use. I don't understand how their math does it, but he had a perfect passer rating and didn't even run the ball. Jalen Hurts had 4 rush attempts for negative 10 yards. He didn't run the ball. He did all of this with his arm. DeVonta Smith, 9 receptions on 11 targets, 183 yards, averaged over 20 yards a reception, 1 79-yard touchdown pass or reception, A.J. Brown, 6 targets, 4 receptions, 121 receiving yards, averaged over 30 yards a reception, 2 receiving touchdowns. His longest catch of the day was 45 yards, which was the nail in the coffin on the Vikings' hopes of winning the game. Again, I say, when I think about the Philadelphia Eagles, I think of them with reverence and I think of them with respect because of what they've been able to achieve in the Jalen Hurts era. People have a hard time giving Jalen Hurts credit. That's okay. Because when it's all said and done, the record book, the numbers, the production, the wins, the championships, it won't lie. You may not like how he does it. You may not like his style. You may not like him. You may think he's too calm, cool, collected. You may think it's a facade. You may think he puts on the front. Some of you may think he's aura farming. That's a term, the young people use now. Aura farming. But I met the brother in person. I actually had the chance to meet him and shake his hand and, actually have a mild conversation. I'm not going to make it more than what it was. I met him at the Maxwell Awards, had the chance to, talk to him, ask him a couple questions. I didn't pester him. I took a couple pics with him. You know what I mean? And the reality is, he's a pretty down-to-earth dude, pretty grounded. He is exactly as you guys see him to be in those interviews on the field. Calm, cool, collected, nothing phases him. Smooth criminal. Smooth. You know what I'm saying? So, and doesn't put out any bad energy. So again, when I hear and I didn't listen to none of the prognosticators today. Like I didn't listen to the radio stations or nothing. I didn't even listen to them because they're going to constantly flip flop and they're going to always try to take credit for a guy's performance. They're going to always try to say, see, look, like see what happens when Jalen Hurts is actually competent. You know, they're going to try to spin it in such a way to where they don't have to take accountability for their words. And they live so much on a moment by moment basis where they have a hard time really just looking at the grand scope of things. Jalen Hurts has given you the best years that you've experienced as a Eagles fan, as an Eagles commentator. If you're in the Philadelphia sports market, what quarterback in Eagles history has delivered you this level of consistency? The closest you may come is Donovan McNabb, where they made it to consecutive NFC championship games. But they only won one of them. They only won one of them. Made it to one Super Bowl and they lost. And since then, they've never been back. Never been back. But then, you know, Eagles draft Carson Wentz. Ironically enough, Hurts and Carson Wentz played each other yesterday. That was an interesting dynamic. But Eagles draft Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz becomes the guy. And in his breakout season, Carson Wentz goes down with a torn ACL and an LCL. Or is it he tore his ACL and his MCL? He tore that knee up. Led the Eagles to an 11-1 or 12-1 record. Nick Foles finished the job. Team went into the playoffs with the number 1 seed. Nick Foles had a rough divisional round game against the Falcons. Cleaned it up in the second half of that game. That's where we introduced the RPO. Then conference championship, they waxed the Vikings, ironically enough. Nick Foles balls out. Super Bowl, Nick Foles balls out again. Outdoors Tom Brady. Got the first Super Bowl. But a lot of people called that one a fluke because of everything that surrounded it, right? A backup quarterback. You know, the Doug Peterson era didn't last too long. A lot of people called it a fluke. All right. But then you draft Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts becomes the franchise quarterback because Carson Wentz can't stay healthy and he can't get out of his own way. Carson Wentz gets benched. Jalen Hurts takes over. Jalen Hurts' first year starting. He takes the team to the playoffs. They get waxed in the playoffs by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by Tom Brady, who had a career year and who led the league in pass attempts, pass completions, pass yards, and pass touchdowns. Tom Brady was having a all-time year, and the Eagles got waxed by him. To be expected. What does Jalen Hurts do? Fouls it up. The following season, 2022, takes the league by storm. Leads the Philadelphia Eagles to a Super Bowl berth. They lose to the Patriots. I'm sorry, they lose to the Chiefs. Excuse me, you guys. They lose to the Chiefs in dramatic fashion. They were going blow for blow with the Chiefs. As a matter of fact, they were kicking the Chiefs' defense's ass. But the Eagles' defense didn't show up that day. And Jalen Hurts' all-time performance was for naught. Then 2023 comes. Eagles start the season off strong from a record perspective, but people felt like something wasn't quite right. And all of a sudden, the season bottoms out. Eagles start 11-1. They finish the season, what was it? 11-6? Or they start 10-1. They finish the season 11-6. They bottomed out. People thought they were cooked. They thought Jalen Hurts was cooked. They thought Jalen Hurts was a fluke. He comes back in 2024. Eagles sign Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts is the maestro of the orchestra. Saquon Barkley is having an all-time season, and Jalen Hurts is just doing his job. Hey, when you got a guy on your team that's playing like that, you got to give them the ball. You can't get in the way because you want your passing yards. You hand the ball to the guy who's having the all-time season and let him cook. And that's exactly what happened. And guess what? Even A.J. Brown missed 4 games. DeVonta Smith missed 4 games that season. A.J. Brown still had over 1,000 yards. DeVonta Smith still had a career year in touchdown catches. They made the playoffs. They were the second seed, had to go into the wild card round, faced Green Bay in the wild card round, beat them by double digits, had to face the Los Angeles Rams in a blizzard, an all-time game for the entire organization. They win that game. They faced the Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship game, roll them 55-20 or something like that. Then they go to the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts has one of the best performances we've seen from him that season. Outplays Patrick Mahomes again, dominates them, beats them 40-22. But that's the guy you question. That's the guy they question. Jalen Hurts is the man that they lack respect for. And I'm coming into this live stream with this energy, with this perspective, with this soliloquy, with this history lesson, because people need to know just how low shit was. People need to understand just how far Jalen Hurts has come to be the player that he is. Jalen Hurts is by far a different animal than he was in his rookie season or his first year starting in 2021. Jalen Hurts has completely rebuilt his game from the ground up. And is a solidified franchise quarterback, a guy that can throw the ball at will, a guy that can move in the pocket, a guy that knows how to get his weapons going. AJ Brown has 3 consecutive All-Pro seasons playing with DeVonta Smith and Jalen Hurts. He has 3 consecutive All-Pro seasons playing with Jalen Hurts as his quarterback. 2 of those 3 seasons were career years in yards. And one can argue 2024 could have been a crazy year for him, but he missed 4 games. Again, DeVonta missed 4 games too. Now, DeVonta doesn't have the Pro Bowls or the All-Pros on the resume, but if you know DeVonta get busy. This ain't no question. DeVonta Smith could be a number 1 on any team. We know what's up. But again, Jalen Hurts, the guy who got it done without a running game yesterday. The offensive line was inconsistent. His starting center goes down. Your starting left guard is nursing an ankle injury. Your right guard, this is his first year starting, Tyler Steen. The most stability is at left tackle and right tackle. And even Lane Johnson, he's been snake bitten earlier in the season. Coming in and out of the lineup in consecutive games, Rams and Buccaneers. This offensive line has not been playing at the level we know them to be. Saquon Barkley has not had the season that we expect them to have so far. And the Eagles are 5-2. 5-2. And Jalen Hurts is playing at a very high level. He is. On the season, Jalen Hurts has almost 1,500 passing yards, is completing 69.7% of his passes, is averaging over 7 yards, almost 8 yards an attempt, has 11 passing touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns on only 1 interception and 1 fumble. And that fumble I really can't put on him because Matt Pryor got him killed. Jalen Hurts isn't even having his best year as a rusher. Over the course of the past 3 games, Jalen Hurts has a grand total of 16 rushing yards. Actually, I take that back, 6, because he had -10 against the Minnesota Vikings. Over the past 3 games, he has a grand total of 6 rushing yards. And look, you lost the Broncos game, you lost the Giants game, I get it. We get it. Did Jalen Hurts throw an interception in that Giants game? Sure. His first one, and God knows how long. Okay, shoot him. He'll be okay. Like, again, Jalen Hurts is having a very efficient season when he has not had a consistent running game, and the Eagles are 5-2. Let's not get it twisted. Who's carrying who? Who's carrying who? I feel like some people get this thing misconstrued, man. Jalen Hurts is coming off of the most dominant passing performance we've ever seen him have. But it is fair to ask this question, though, because it isn't just about Jalen Hurts' passing ability. It's about the overall cohesiveness of the offense. Can the Eagles sustain this offensive output? Have they figured it out? Is this only a taste of what's to come? Because to me, it looks like the passing game has began to fix itself. Yesterday, they were the least predictable they've ever been all season. You saw them starting the game off really intentional with the run. I want to say 3 of the first 4 plays, Jalen Hurts was under center. You saw them doing a lot of play action from under center. They were very unpredictable in their operation. And Jalen Hurts made one of the best passing defenses in the league pay. Brian Flores is no slouch. That Vikings defense is solid. Their pass defense is of the best of the league. They haven't allowed a 200-yard passer all season. They haven't allowed a team to throw for over 200 yards on them all season. And then they ran into Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and DeVonta Smith. And Jalen Hurts said, hey, hold my beer. I got 300 for you. Well, 300 and some change. Next up, they have the Giants. Big game going into your bye week. Big game. You lost to the Giants 34-17. You owe them one. You owe them one. You owe them. I think this is a sign of great things for the Philadelphia Eagles offense. Jalen Hurts in that offense having that game, especially the passing game. You know, when you're playing well and you're productive, it carries over. It's a good feeling. The vibes are high right now. The vibes are high. As they should be. Jalen Hurts said it in his press conference. You know, we're not losers anymore. He takes that win-loss shit very seriously. He does. He don't care what his stats look like. Did we win or did we lose? He cares about the process and the operation being high level, but he doesn't care about his overall stat line. He just wants to win the football game. Because he said something, I think, in his interview with Pam Oliver, or I think it was in his press conference. I can't exactly remember when, but he said something along the lines of, you know, we understand what it takes to get to where we're trying to get to. And we understand that once you actually get into the playoffs, once you actually get into the war zone where your record doesn't matter anymore, when it's all said and done, the question will always be, did you win or did you lose? And I'm paraphrasing, of course. I'm paraphrasing. When you have aspirations to get to where they want to go, like Jalen Hurts said, what it looks like doesn't matter. They're always going to ask, did you win or did you lose? When you get to the playoffs, your stats and all that don't matter. Did you win or did you lose? Did you win or did you lose? We gotta start putting more respect on Jalen Hurts' name. And you know what? We're not, I'm reading a lot of y'all commentary, and I know a lot of y'all get it. I know a lot of y'all get it. But there's some people who still need to be taught. We need to take them to school. Because, again, Jalen Hurts had a phenomenal game. And it's going to be so important for this offense to get healthy, especially on the offensive line. They're 5-2, and the running game isn't even working yet. Cam Jurgens is dealing with the knee. We don't know how bad it is. Landon Dickerson still dealing with that ankle. DeVonta Smith and Jordan Mailata, they talked about how, Jalen Hurts, when he's in a zone or whatever, he has this look in his eye. And it's always cool to hear guys talk about, Jalen Hurts like that. Because Jalen is a very stoic character. He doesn't give you too much. Never gets too high, never gets too low. But his guys know who he is. His guys know. It's going to be really important for the Philadelphia Eagles to figure out their running game, though. Because I don't think they can get to where they want to get to if that running game is playing at the level it's playing at. And that begins and ends, actually, with the offensive line. It begins and it ends with the offensive line. Jordan Mailata has been your most consistent offensive lineman. Lane Johnson is second in that regard. Then you might have to say Tyler Steen is third, then Jurgens fourth, and Landon Dickerson fifth as far as just ranking and consistency. You've experienced a ton of injury on that left guard and that center position, that interior. You've experienced a lot of turnover. You don't have Mekhi Becton anymore, so you don't have as much size there. So again, this Eagles passing game looks like it's trending in the right direction, and I do believe this is a sign of great things to come. But I also believe that if the Eagles want to get to the destination that we all so desire, they got to get that running game going. They got to get that running game going. And it's so bad right now that I can't even put it on Saquon Barkley, because I'm always seeing Saquon Barkley turning nothing into something because the offensive line can't block. How many times did we see Saquon Barkley get hit before he even get past the line of scrimmage? Guys are already behind the line of scrimmage. Pass blocking has improved. You can see that. And Brett Toth was awful in the first half. He settled down in the second. He came up big time holding up for Jalen Hurts to make those passes to Smitty and to A.J. Brown. He held up. I do want to give Brett Toth some grace in that regard. His first half was awful, and he had an awful performance in that Giants game as well. But in that second half, he stepped it up. So I gave Brett Toth credit in that regard. But as far as the run blocking, man, it's been so bad. I've never seen an Eagles team with such piss poor run blocking before. And I don't understand what it is. A lot of those guys have been playing together for the past 3 or 4 seasons. Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, they've all been together a minimum for the past 3 or 4 seasons, minimum. I think Tyler Steen was drafted in 2023. No, yeah. So Landon Dickerson was drafted in 2021. Cam Jurgens was drafted in 2022. Tyler Steen was drafted in 2023. All those guys are second-round picks and third-round picks. Cam Jurgens and Landon are second-round picks. Tyler Steen, I think, is a third. Now, Tyler Steen, this is his first year starting, but Tyler Steen has been on this team. All these guys know each other. But yet there is this lack of cohesiveness in the run game. They're not getting the same push. And I honestly think, well, we know that interior is banged up. In particular, left guard and center. They're banged up. They're not getting the same push. They're just not. And I also wonder, because remember, Cam Jurgens was a Pro Bowler last year. I also wonder how much of Cam Jurgens' success hinged on what Mekhi Becton was doing to his right. Because statistically and numerically, Mekhi Becton was their lowest graded offensive lineman over the course of the season. Now, were there moments where Mekhi Becton, outgraded Jurgens or Dickerson during a game? It's possible, but from an overall grading standpoint, I think Mekhi Becton was their worst offensive lineman overall. But in the run game, that's where Mekhi Becton was able to shine and do his thing. So I'm looking at Jeff Stoutland and I'm saying to myself, okay, Stout, these are your guys. These are your guys. You've been doing this for way too long for them to be looking like this. On your off day, they're better than this. So what's really going on? It has to be health. It has to be health and only health. I cannot think of anything else that could be stopping this offensive line from being as dominant as we know them to be. Because again, I'm not blaming Saquon for nothing. He can't even, he's not even getting space to do his thing. It has to be health and only health. It has to be. I cannot believe it to be anything else. Now, I will say this, though. I think a lot of people are afraid to say this, but I'm going to say it. I think Lane Johnson, we're starting to see cracks in the armor. I'm just being honest. We're starting to see cracks in the armor. Now, when everyone is at their best, when everyone is fully healthy, we know who the best linemen are on this team. When everyone's at their best, you go Lane Johnson 1, you go Mailata 2, you go Landon Dickerson 3, you go Cam Jurgens 4, and you go Tyler Steen 5. We all know Tyler Steen isn't the most talented offensive lineman on that line. We know we know that. When everyone is fully healthy and at their best, we know how good Mailata is. He's an all-pro. Lane Johnson, an all-pro. Both of those guys are also Pro Bowlers. Landon Dickerson, 3-time Pro Bowler, 3 consecutive seasons. Cam Jurgens coming off of a Pro Bowl season, right? The reality is, whether people want to accept it or not, Tyler Steen is having a better season than Landon Dickerson. But that's only because Landon is hurt. That's the only reason. And that's the only reason I can make sense of when it comes to these guys. Because it's hard for me to believe Jeff Stoutland lost a step. He's been putting in so many man hours. He's cultivated such a fine-tuned machine that even if he has a cold, those guys know what to do. So the only thing I can make sense of is that these guys are hurt. And they just aren't getting the same push that they're used to getting because they're hurt. That's all. That's all I can really. That's all I can really say about it. That's all I can really say about it. This entire offensive line has been underperforming. The best guys, the most consistent guys, have been Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata. They have been. But Lane Johnson, them first few weeks, my man was in and out of the lineup. Now he's stabilized a bit, right? He played the entire Giants game, right? He played the entire Vikings game. I think he played the entire Broncos game too. So he's kind of stabilized a bit. But he's an OG in this thing. He's an OG. You got to call it what it is. Got to call it how we see it. He's an OG in this thing. And there's only so many more snaps this brother got left. Trenton Wright with the super chat. Thank you for the super chat, Trenton. He says, first Eagles win since my daughter was born. Smitty is the GOAT. Hey, congratulations to you and the family, man, on the newborn. Thank you for donating to the channel, my friend. Appreciate you. And you're right, man. DeVonta Smith is like that. He's like that. Let's see here. Delco Green says Mekhi Becton was moving people 5 yards off the scrimmage with little effort. No, Mekhi Becton was manhandling dudes, in particular in the run game. Mekhi Becton wasn't their best pass blocker, but run blocking, he was definitely one of their best for sure. But I think from an overall perspective, I think he was their most inconsistent guy. But I think it was because he always was dealing with something too. He was in and out of the lineup sometimes as well. But Mekhi Becton had a phenomenal season with the Eagles. Phenomenal. I don't want to shortchange it by any stretch of the imagination, you guys. I don't want you to think that I think less of Mekhi Becton. I don't. I think the Eagles miss him, frankly. But I think I think their problems really is just they're not healthy. They're not healthy, and they need a bye week desperately. Miss Fanny, the Eagles fan, with the $10 super chat. Thank you, Miss Fanny. She says, in my opinion, at times it appears some of our O-line are afraid of catching penalties. Holding penalties have gotten the best of us as well. Downfield, offside, etc. Add injuries to it, scared. I can't put that on them, Miss Fanny. I can't say they're scared. I don't think that's the case. I can't put that on them. Nah. I don't think it's that. I think these guys are quite literally hurt. I think some of these guys are more hurt than they lead on. These guys need a week off. They need a week off. And we also got to understand as well, and I think my man Red Zone, thank you for the super chat, Miss Fanny. I think my man Red Zone has said, is kind of saying something pretty important as well. He said, Tone, Brian Flores was cheating his safeties up to clog the running lanes. I think the Eagles have some tells when they run the ball. The defenses are picking up. That's entirely possible as well. Yesterday, they were pretty unpredictable, but that was more so in the passing game. I think they need to do more to take this running game to another level. I think guys are hurt. I think sometimes, and also I was listening to, I think I was listening to Baldy or Cosell. And I think one of them said, there's running plays aren't really that complicated. There really aren't that many running plays to run. Like seriously, running plays aren't that complex. They said that to say that the reality is the problem isn't necessarily the type of running plays. They're not getting the push, period. Now, granted, obviously, we saw them make the concerted effort to try to get Saquon in space. They pitched the ball quite a few times. They ran off tackle. They quite literally were trying to get Saquon going and get him in space because they knew running up the middle consistently would be a problem. And we saw them in the game trying to pitch it and give Saquon some opportunities. But there were times where I saw the tight ends getting destroyed on the edge. The tight ends can't block. I saw Dallas Goedert get destroyed on one play. Just completely got backed up into Saquon Barkley's lap. Like the tight ends aren't blocking well. The interior isn't blocking well in the run game. It's hard. So I don't think it's as complex as, oh yeah, the defense are, they're picking up, the Eagles are predictable in the run game. I really think these guys are hurting. They're really not getting pushed. Michael McClain, my guy, thank you for the super chat. He says here, can Fred Johnson play guard? Oh man, sometimes I wish he could, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd much rather them put Drew Kendall in. Like if Cam Jurgens gets hurt or if he's not playing next week, put Drew Kendall in. I don't need to see Brett Toth out there. Put Drew Kendall in, the rookie. I'd much rather roll the dice with him than Brett Toth. Seriously. Seriously, man. Thank you for the super chat, Michael. Caillou Ribus says Lane Johnson is dealing with a mild concussion and a stinger. Jurgens with the back and knee. Dickerson, the knee and the back. They are all dealing with injuries. Yeah, man. They're all dealing with something. They need a bye week bad. Like, I can't even look at Saquon and say he's not getting the job done. He ain't got no space. He had one run play yesterday where he should have been dead to rights, but he did this crazy spin and was able to get like 7 or 8 yards or whatever it was. Like, turned nothing into something. I can't blame Saquon for the way this thing is turning out. He ain't got no space. They trying to make my man squeeze through a keyhole. Antonio Holmes says Brett Toth is a Stoutland guy. He is. And honestly, I don't understand why. He is. The dude is not reliable. Simple as that. Arthur McQueen says Barkley is running into a brick wall. Facts. Young Ghost says, can the center we got from the Rams play or is he still hurt? Bruh, I do not know. That's a good. I forgot we signed that guy. What's his name? I totally forgot we signed that guy. Lampkin, that's his name. Auto V says, honestly, I don't see Barkley moving the way he did last year. He looks a little slow. Well, yeah, he's constantly having to hit the brakes because he's running the walls. He's constantly running and he's constantly having to hit the brakes. It's just that simple. You know, I want to move on to another topic with you guys. You know, there's been rumors circulating that Brandon Graham is considering coming out of retirement to help the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I don't know how likely it is because that's not something that he can just do. That's something he has to run by wifey. He got to run that by Mrs. Graham. He got to run that by his kids because this is the most his kids have had him at home during this time of year. And, you know, he's doing the dad thing, taking the kids to school, picking them up, I'm sure, doing all the dad stuff. And he's also doing a lot more media work. I think he comes on Good Morning Football once or twice a week or something like that. He does the podcast that's hosted by PHLY. His co-host is Bo Wolf. Shout out to those guys. He's doing more commercials now. Like, he has a full life right now. And I think it came up on his podcast that he would consider it. But you got to ask, is he in shape? You know, I mean, if it came up, if he brought it up, I would assume that he feels like he's in shape. But also, the Eagles are so they're so banged up on the edge. Zadarius Smith retired. Azeez Ojulari tweaked his hamstring. Nolan Smith is still on IR. They need bodies there. As of right now, you just have Jalix Hunt, You got Josh Uche. You got Patrick Johnson. And they even moved Jihaad Campbell down to the edge in order to get Nakobe on the field and still generate some kind of pass rush. So smart decision by Vic Fangio to move Campbell down to off ball, allow Nakobe and Zack to play on ball. Because Jihaad Campbell was a 5-star recruit as a pass rusher, as an edge rusher, but he became an inside linebacker because they were, the Alabama had a large amount of talent at the position. So he learned how to play inside linebacker, and he's fantastic at it. So he's getting back to he's getting back to his roots for as a pass rusher. So I think as the season progresses, we're going to see Jihaad Campbell start to unlock that toolkit a little bit more. You know what I mean? But frankly, they need bodies. And if Brandon Graham comes out of retirement, that would help the Eagles. It really would. You're not asking him to come in and be an every down player. You're probably asking him to come in on third downs, maybe come in on early downs. You probably only really want him to have maybe 15 to 25 snaps a game. He doesn't have to, he's not playing the entirety of a season. You just need him for, the next 10 games, right? And then the playoffs start. So hopefully that's 3 more games or 4 more games. So at best, you need Brandon Graham for 14 games. And you just need him to be a stabilizing force, bring that leadership back. This defense is young, very young. And I think they can use some more veteran leadership. Guys like Reed Blankenship, they're young. He's a captain, but he's young as well. Zach Baun is a captain. He's solidified. All pro, defensive player of the year finalist, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, one of the best linebackers in football. I actually think Zach Baun is the best linebacker in football, especially now that Fred Warner is down for the season. There's not a linebacker in the league that's playing at the high level that Zach Baun and Jihaad Campbell and Nakobe Dean are playing at collectively. There's not a single linebacker, in my opinion, that's playing better than Zach Baun. So, they got some things to figure out defensively. And if BG can come back and be an asset, that would be remarkable. I would welcome him back with open arms. My only question is he in shape? And I'm going to assume that he is. I'm going to assume that he is. But I know a lot of you guys have talked about potential targets. I know Jermaine. I know the Jets. The Jets right now are a really, really bad team. The Jets have not been good whatsoever. And is it entirely possible that the Jets could be offloading some talent, right? Could the Jets be willing to move on from Jermaine Johnson? Jermaine Johnson, 6'5", 254, 26 years old, was drafted in the first round in 2022. Only has 1 sack on the season, though. Only 8 solo tackles. He isn't having his best season right now. He's had better years, but the past 2 seasons, Jermaine Johnson has struggled. He was hurt in 2024. Only played in 2 games. This year, he's only played in 4. So he's battled injuries, so far the past 2 seasons. His rookie year, he had 2.5 sacks. His second year, he had 7.5. And then his third year, people thought he would take it to another level, but got hurt. His best year was his second year. So Jermaine Johnson, what can he bring to the Eagles? He's young, but he's been battling injuries over the past couple years. And how effective can he be? He's a big dude, though, 6'5", 254, out of Florida State. I think Jermaine Johnson actually used to go to Georgia, but he transferred. So we'll see. We sure will see what the plan is for the Philadelphia Eagles. As a matter of fact, and on top of that, by the way, BG, By the way, BG, he knows the scheme, the defense. He knows the building. It would only make sense. It would only make sense for BG to come out of retirement for the Eagles and only the Eagles. And it would make sense for the Philadelphia Eagles to entertain it because they're desperate. The edge rusher position has not been that great this season from a productive standpoint. Now, Jalen Hunt had probably one of his best games. Pick six, got pressures, got quarterback hits. You know what I mean? Like he's probably coming off his best game. Let's try to see who's available here. Let's see. All right, so at edge, there's nobody available really at edge. There's nobody really available. This is going to be like free agency is Howie Roseman has to make a move. He has to make a move, honestly. There's no way the Eagles can continue to go through the season with this lack of depth at the edge. I'm pretty satisfied with the way the D tackle position is played. I think Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, and Moro Jomo collectively have had a solid season. Jalen Carter had a little bit of a slow start, but he's starting to pick it up. Jordan Davis started off hot. He's beginning to stabilize a bit, but he's still a force. Moro Jomo has gotten some pretty crucial sacks and big moments. As a matter of fact, let me check this out here. I'm really curious now that I think about it. On the season, where are we? On the season, Moro Jomo has 3 sacks. He has 3 sacks. Through 7 games played, Moro Jomo has 3 sacks. He's having a good season. He has more like in his rookie year. He had no sacks. In 2024, no sacks. In 2025, he has 3 sacks through 7 games. Moro Jomo is having a great season. Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter so far in the season has no sacks. Jalen Carter is not having a good season right now. He's having a down year. He needs to pick it up. Jalen Carter has no sacks and only has 1 tackle for loss. Not a good season so far. Not a good season so far for Jalen Carter. He has to pick it up. Jordan Davis on the season through 7 games has 2 sacks, 3 TFLs, 28 total tackles, 3 pass deflections. You know? Again, for the D tackle spot, having 2 sacks or having 3 sacks through 7 games is not awful for the D tackle position. Most D tackles aren't really getting a lot of sacks. Most of them. Only the elite of the elite get a lot of sacks. But through 7 games, Morrow has 3. And through 7 games, Jordan Davis has 2. Jordan Davis' career high in sacks is 2.5 from 2023. I think he's going to crush that. I think Jordan Davis may end the season with 5 sacks, 6 sacks. I think that's possible. I think Moro Jomo can end the season with 6 or 7 sacks. Jalen Carter has to catch up. He had a slow start to the season. Yesterday probably was one of his better performances. Obviously, the Rams game was a big game for them, especially on special teams, blocking the kicks, right? But the Eagles expect more from Jalen Carter. They expect more. And he has to give more. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We're about to close this thing out. I really do appreciate the love for the support. You guys have truly been fantastic. Thank you for the donations. Thank you, Trenton Wright, for the super chat. Thank you, Miss Fanny. Thank you, Michael McLean. You guys have truly, truly been pillars to this show. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. By the way, you guys, YouTube has introduced a new feature, something called the hype button, right? When you hit that hype button, it allows for the content to grow at an exponential rate. It allows more people to find it. It helps push me forward and higher into that algorithm. So make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure you got the notification bell turned on while you're subscribed. And also make sure you hit the hype button. Like it and hype it. Simple as that. Like it and hype it. You know what I mean? I would like to see a little bit more opportunities for Ty Robinson, right? As a matter of fact, Ty Robinson, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I would like to see more from Ty Robinson. So far, Ty Robinson's only played in 5 games this year. I would like to see him have more opportunities. Byron Young has played a lot, right? Obviously, your top 3 guys are Carter, Davis, and Ajomo. And you're not really going to go that deep in your rotation when you have guys like that. But, you know, I think they got to get creative. They got to get creative and give defenses different looks when it comes to Jalen Carter and his whereabouts. You know, you don't have to line up Jalen Carter at the same place every single down. Mix it up. Make them guess where he is. I would love to see Jalen Carter coming off the edge a little bit, you know, coming off, you know, just different alignments, right? I think LB said that. LB brought up, you know, rushing Jalen Carter off the edge a little bit. That'd be interesting. That would be interesting. Let him put his hands in the dirt and do his thing. You know what I mean? But I think overall, though, that 28-22 victory over the Minnesota Vikings, the performance by Jalen Hurts, the perfect performance by Jalen Hurts, the elite performance of Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith having their breakout performances of the season. I think they can only build off of this. And I think they're going to come in highly motivated next week against the Giants. They're going to be highly motivated to smack the Giants, especially at Lincoln Financial Field. They're going to be highly motivated to beat that team because they know they let them off the hook. They know they let the Giants off the hook on Thursday night. Same thing with the Broncos. They let them off the hook. So the Eagles are motivated. They got that loser stink off of them. They're winners again. And next up, they got the New York Giants at Lincoln Financial Field. And the Giants are coming off of a devastating loss at home. No, I'm sorry, on the road against the Broncos. They're coming off of a devastating loss. Jackson Dart and Bo Nix were going back and forth. Actually, I take that back. The Giants were actually kicking the Broncos' ass. The Broncos were down like 18 points in the fourth quarter, I think, or something like that, or in the second half. And the Giants like they fell off the gas. The Broncos came back and they won the game. And that's a devastating loss. That's the kind of loss that stays with you. That's the kind of loss that can frustrate you. And I think it's important the Philadelphia Eagles catch them, and coming off of a game like that or coming off of a loss like that. So big week for the Philadelphia Eagles, going to the bye week with a 2-game winning streak, right? Going to the bye week with a 2-game winning streak. You know, you're able to put the 2-game losing streak behind you. Going to the bye, 6-2. And after the bye week, during the bye week, get healthy. Then when you come out, you got Green Bay, who I think is very beatable. You got Green Bay. Then you have, make sure I got this right here. You got Green Bay. Then you got the Lions. Then you got the Cowboys, who are putting up big numbers on offense. Then you got the Bears and the Chargers. So that stretch coming out of the bye week will be difficult. It will be difficult. But I think coming off of this victory and the way the Eagles did it, it's going to be really interesting to see how they handle it. But again, this is a big win. A big win for the Eagles. And that is crazy, actually. Hold on. They allowed the Broncos to score 33 points in the fourth quarter. Yo, I overlooked that stat. 33 points scored in the fourth quarter. That is nuts. That is nuts, bruh. And it wasn't like the Giants wasn't trying to put them away. Hey, Broncos did their thing, man. That's remarkable. Anyway, let's see. Miss Linda with a super chat. Thank you, Miss Linda. She says BG's considering a return. Yeah, he is, man. That'd be interesting to see if he does, though. I'm curious to see if he does. I'm curious to see if he does return. But anyway, thank you for the super chat, Ms. Linda. We're going to get out of here. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I really do appreciate the love or the support. You guys have been fantastic. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the hype button as well. I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. And you guys have been locked in on Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.